What up, my guy?
What up, killer?
Hey, not much. Let me get closer to this mic so people can hear me. Let me talk my stuff today. I ain't got nothing to talk about.
Can you hear me? Because somebody decided to turn on their dang on lawnmower outside. Can you hear me good?
No, I can hear you loud and clear, brother.
Okay, cool.
All right. So this is a great topic this week, man. We was both live and direct in the building for the OCB No Gear Classic. As y'all know, we had the promoter, Jessica Powell, her mom, Terry Powell, both promoted this show this year. It turned out to be a wonderful event. There was plenty of surprises, at this show. There were some surprises that happened that people weren't expecting. Mainly the guy across from me. But man, let's get into it, man. I want to definitely recap some of the things that happened this weekend. But from a competitor standpoint, can you go ahead and tell me some of the things that you experienced this weekend through the show?
Man, I experienced everything, bro. I experienced love. I experienced hate. I experienced congratulations. I experienced people not so happy that I won. Nah, bro. But from day one, when I got there, check-ins went smoothly. The polygraph went smoothly. I was just so happy to be able to spread my love to, Jessica and Miss Terry. I know, it was a rough weekend for them, but we all came together as the OCB do, as one big family, and we was able to do something, something special. And that's what was all about for me. I don't know if you see my post that I posted yesterday, but last year I was at No Gear, and I told Will that I was going to do a show this year. And unfortunately, things happen or whatever, but I kept my promise. So that was my main reason of doing No Gear this year. I just wanted to honor that and keep that promise. So.
Nah, that's dope. That's dope. And the funny thing is, I think it's not even funny, but the coincidental thing, Marshall had a very similar story. And then even to the midst of when I did No Gear a long time ago, I had a conversation with him at Queen City the year before when I was passing out awards. And I literally told him, I was like, man, why don't you make this a man pro show? Because I think it was like flip-flop every year. It was women, men's, women, men's.
Right.
And I was like, man, why don't you make this a man pro show? Like, we got so many men's physique guys, man. I'm pretty sure we can definitely fill the show up. And then literally the next year, that's when I went and won. And I had like I said, I had a lot of people in the crowd, and I ended up winning the year after. So I feel like that's dope. Like that, all of us have a very similar story to that. And we all held our promise and won the show, so that made it even more.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure.
That made it even more important. From what we know from the past years, the No Gear Classic is never a show that you can half step at. Like, I think if you come in and expect this to be a warm up for your later shows, you will get your feelings hurt. And I don't think any guys who came this week thought that, but the lineup for men's physique, the lineup for bodybuilding having 3 classes, the lineup for classic having 2 classes, the lineup for men's physique having 3 classes was absolutely bananas. I left before the amateurs, but then I have definitely a shout out for a guy who won men's physique amateur as well. I got a fun story about that, but we can kind of just recap through everything with the bodybuilding. Let's just go ahead and show the screen clip. Bodybuilding, there's a very familiar face on here, and that is Marshall Johnson. He took the first place there, and he had a very heartfelt speech. After that, he was able to get the microphone and had a very heartfelt speech. I don't know the second place guy name, but I do know the third place guy. His name is Jamal Russell out of Greensboro. I know him for a while too. So big congratulations to those guys. You were backstage with these guys. What did you see from the bodybuilding competitors that you probably seen in passing or just seen on stage if you caught any of it?
They all wanted to use my handy dandy pull-up bar. Nah, but honestly, man, you see me, I was ducked off in a little corner pretty much by myself. So as far as like seeing what everybody else was doing, I really don't know. The only people that I seen was the people that was coming asking to use the pull-up bar. And yeah, this show I just kept to myself, to be honest with you. So
Gotcha. I snuck out in the crowd for a little bit. Of course, with me coaching, running back and forth, I didn't want to leave my guys for too long.
Right.
I did see a glimpse of the overall battle. I think all 6 of those guys either had something going for them. Either they were super muscular, either they were conditioned, or either they had great shape. Like, it was amazing. Like, I'm pretty sure when you guys watch this, you can go check it out on YouTube afterwards, or if you already watched it and just come in here to see what we got to say about it, that's even better. But the bodybuilders definitely brought it, and I think this is the second year in a row where they had 3 classes of bodybuilding. So I want to repeat the sentiment that we said last year, that bodybuilding is not dead in actual bodybuilding, as everybody say, maybe on the amateur level, but on the pro level, it's live and well. But let's move on to classic, man, because there was a surprise name on the roster that nobody knew who it was. But
Which is crazy because people that wasn't even doing the show and didn't even have no business seeing the roster was reaching out asking about this name, and I just found that crazy.
So we have the guy Jamal Williams decided to show up, pop out at the No Gear Classic. Not only getting 1 win of the season, but collecting his 2nd win of the season. I was able to watch the overall for this, and I was gladly entertained. I think I'll always speak a sentiment of when you show up to a pro show, you want it to look like pros are on stage. And I think this show showed nothing short of that. So first place, we had Jamal Williams, of course, across from me, Mr. Carolina Muscle. Second place, we had Eli Perry. And third place, we had Donnie Crump. So I know you were zoned in. I know you're going to say you didn't see anybody. You had the blinders on. But what did you think of this classic class and how it was ran through, how the show was ran?
Nah, going into the show, I already knew. I knew Eli was going to be there, and I knew Donnie was going to be there because me and Donnie competed a couple weeks before the No Gear, so I already knew them two was going to be there. Man, all the guys look great. I was actually surprised at the bodies that came out, but I think me and you was talking because you had came backstage, and I straight up said, I was like, Eli looks good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I follow him online or whatnot, so I knew he was going to be somewhere in the top 3, just basing off his physique and everything else. I was very interested to see how the judges was going to go with him and Donnie because they got 2 completely different physiques. So that's why I was anticipating seeing how they was going to match that one up. But both guys brung it, man. I had a chance to talk to Donnie before we stepped on stage. While we was on stage, we was talking with each other. And then after the show, we was talking with each other too. And me and Eli chatted for a little bit also. So, man, I appreciate them guys for bringing their best because their best brought out the best in me. So, nothing but love, man. As you can see, after these shows now, I got a whole different approach on everything, bro. I'm just having fun with it this year, bro. Like that's my main goal, just having fun with it. And the cards are going to lay where they lay. But as far as me, I'm not letting nobody else dictate how I feel or what I do throughout the rest of this year. So.
Nah, for sure. And I think I'll give my quick outlook on classic. I think I told you from the crowd, like Eli is an amazing poser. You can tell he really takes his time with his posing. I watched his individual routine and it was super smooth, super his transitions, his poses, and he has a lot of muscle. And I think I even told you this. I said, you have a structure that's one of one, right? That makes you stand out. Eli has a lot of muscle, which I mean, nobody ever wants to hear this, but I guarantee that Eli can go compete in bodybuilding and actually beat guys. Like, I know that for a fact. I could see him in bodybuilding trunks if that was ever something he wanted to do. I'm not pushing him that way. I'm just saying he's capable of doing that.
So that's why I shut my mouth because certain people shouldn't say certain things because it's gonna come off as like we're hating or whatnot. But like his build, like that's I think he could do damage over there too.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna say nothing else on that because oh no,
Yeah.
you're scared of Eli or whatever. No, I just you know what I'm saying. He
Yeah.
has an incredible
Nah.
physique, and I said that online too because people online was like, oh, second place should have won, and all. Hey, he has an incredible physique. But I love y'all that love to judge the show online and wasn't there in person. But
Yeah.
absolutely, I agree with you.
Yeah. I think it's like you said, it's kind of how you said it. Like I think there's a lot of guys who would tell you, or a lot of people who would tell you that you can go beat bodybuilders, right? Or you can beat some of the bodybuilders. He just has one of those physiques that's tiptoeing the line, right? He's classic enough to be competing classic and be competitive in classic, but he's also big enough and coming shredded enough he can beat bodybuilders because he has that much muscle. By no means, like you already know, I get irritated when people tell me I should go do classic because ultimately it's my choice. I think he poses well to stay in classic, but I think he has enough muscle to compete in bodybuilding. So I'm gonna leave that at that. And I think Donnie, he just brought that a different level of conditioning, right? And that's always a toss-up in classic because you never know the conditioning level or standard that they want on certain days. So I think all three of you guys had really good attributes that's, like we said, one of one that you guys hold. And that's what kind of, it was good to see the judges have to think. They had to work. They had to think on their own feet. They couldn't rely on the next person. They had to make the decision on their own of who they wanted to win this show.
No, I agree with that. And just going back to the judging panel, I think not because I won, but I think they actually did an amazing job, and I think Sully is doing an amazing job at actually putting the criteria out there, and the judges are finally picking it up. Okay, this is what we want for each category. So shout out to Sully for doing his thing because I know he just did like a whole OCB Edge TV thing on the criteria and everything. So I'm finally glad like the judges are picking up on that. So
all right. And last but not least, we have, where are these guys at? We have the men's physique guys. As you know, I love to talk about men's physique, so I'm going to try to keep it short. So first place, we have Fred. This was actually his OCB pro debut. Coming out and winning his pro debut. He went pro at the Queen City Showdown a couple years ago. Then in second place, we have Matt. Don't know his last name, but Matt, part of Rare Breed. Met him literally 2 weeks ago or last week in Tennessee. Super solid physique coming out of Tennessee. He went pro at the Natty Knights. I think this was also his pro debut. And lastly, we had Nehemiah, which I think also this was his pro debut. And I forgot what show he went pro at. But all three of these guys, super talented guys. I think looking at this, it kind of showed the landscape of what men's physique is and where it's going. Both of these guys are super young, or two of the guys are super young. So the future of men's physique is super bright with them. I think shape and structure, they had it. Matt brought a super level of conditioning to take that second place finish. Fred had the total package. I think he has this smoothness to his physique, this smoothness to his posing that really stands out. I'm super excited, man. Like I said, this was nothing short of a competitive show. We had 17 guys in men's physique. And it just happened to be that all three of the winners from their class placed top three.
absolutely. I see them guys, and like you said, it was an incredible lineup. Like the whole men's physique lineup was incredible. You had some dogs in there, and for them three to come out on top, hey, congrats to them. Job well done. Especially Nehemiah, he was classic last year, so he made that transition to the men's physique. And usually you don't see people. I'm not gonna say go back. Yeah, because I think going backwards is kind of like a diss. But he went because he was men's physique, classic. He figured out classic wasn't really, his thing just yet. So he made a switch back to men's physique. So shout out to him for knowing where his body is and what's best for his body at this point in time.
Yeah, and I'll say this on record, just because I'd rather be very transparent on here. I think I was speaking to Tina because she was recording him. I think she poses him, and I was just like, "Yo, like this is his category." Like, I think him going to classic and posing way more.
Yeah.
And he has a certain flow to his physique, like his transitions, his confidence on stage, coming back from classic, and his body just fits into men's physique. And I think a lot of classic guys, maybe with smaller legs or that's not completely balanced yet, they should probably look at doing that. I mean, I'm not trying to oversaturate either category, but it's like, until your body fully fits into a category, why jump early when you could possibly be placing higher in a different category? But all that to say, he has a great physique. And I think his future is very bright in men's physique. Same thing with Fred. Same thing with Matt. But yeah, if you guys haven't seen the show, I would definitely go check out the live stream. But where can we go from this? Where can we go to round off this No Gear? I do have to shout out one.
Shout out to you, because you had 2 pro competitors in there, David and Demetrius. So shout out to them for doing their thing. I had an amateur classic guy in there. He looked freaking incredible. I was very happy for him. We came up short. Well, we didn't come up short because he was still happy with his placing for it being his first show, but he placed second in his class, second in debut, and second in novice. So shout out to him, man. He's an incredible guy to coach. But yeah, man, overall, I think it was a successful weekend, to be honest with you.
Yeah, true. I have a few shout outs. Of course, David Demetrius, both part of Team Eagle of Strength. Proud coach moment. Both of those guys made it to the overall, battled it out in the overall, got respectively 4th and 6th in the overall. There's a guy named Chris Day. I actually competed against him a long time ago, 2017, maybe 2016, my first NPC show. We competed against each other. He just got his pro card at the OCB No Gear Classic this weekend. So he got his pro card in men's physique this weekend. Shout out to the amateur wellness winner, Cam. She's out of Greensboro. She won the amateur wellness card. And I don't want to forget my teammate as well, Eric Rizuko. He was actually in the classic class. And I don't know what his final placing was, but he made it to the overall with you. And I like to also shout out publicly. I don't know if you remember Magnum McCrae's or Magnum's client, Anton. He did presidential with us 2 years ago, and then he ended up placing 4th at No Gear this year. And he looked absolutely phenomenal. He made a huge leap from presidential a couple years back. He took a year off, came back, and I told Magnum, I said, dude, by far, this was the best I ever seen this guy. And he came in and had a great showing, placing right outside of the top 3. So that was a great thing. I mean, that was great to see just overall the competition of the week. So
I hope with all these, you didn't shout out 10 people, and I hope all 10 of them people are following, liking, and subscribing us on YouTube, bro. Like, hey,
we just gotta clip them up. We're gonna clip them up and tag them. We're gonna get them over here. But what's your final thoughts on No Gear this year, man? What's your final thoughts after 48 hours of thinking about it, collecting the win? Final thoughts on how the show was ran, final thoughts on you winning, final thoughts on your momentum going forward.
I think I have to do a better job at that, because each time I step off stage, I'm looking forward to the next thing. Like, I never take time to actually reflect on what just happened. Like, I'm on to the next. But I just think overall, No Gear is always a great show. Since I've been in the OCB, that's one of the top pro shows to do. So I finally got to do it. From the production, the cameras, live stream, the people that's there, the staff, the venue. It feels like a college football game, man. You can go to the bar, get you something to drink, come back and watch the show. But overall, it's a great show. I would highly recommend, to anybody that wants to get out there and do that. So, shout out to Terry and Jessica for, still continuing to do this thing. Great show for sure.
Yeah, and I was trying to get my
momentum. Like you said earlier, that's two wins I got earlier in the season. So now we're just locked in and focused on the Yorton Cup, man. So we're gonna, hopefully this momentum can push us, straight into the Yorton Cup.
Love it, love it, love it. And I think my last sentiments is this has been a show that I think I have been supporting since early 2018, 2019. I've been going every year, close to every year. And the show is steadily growing. The show has always been competitive each and every year. I want to go ahead and see who's going to step up and go ahead and start registering for next year. Like, who knows? I think next year might be the year that this show may blow up the most because everybody sees that this is where people come to compete. And that's what I want to see. I want to see if anybody's bold enough to step out early May. Maybe I'll step back out.
Now, I know we have a thing of saying, like presidential is like the men's show. I have to put No Gear, like, there
Neck and
ain't,
neck.
yeah, like it ain't that far with like you said, neck and neck, man. Like the pros come out and play ball. So
yeah, so I'm super excited to see what the rest of the landscape is. I mean, people are proving they're in shape. So I think the next big one that OCB is looking at will be the presidential for men, and other organizations that may potentially be, Florida Pro. But I'm excited to see who else steps out. And yeah, I don't have too much more to say after that. So with that, we're going to wrap, but I want to congratulate you again. Like you said, 2-0, that resume just keep filling up, blowing up. But until next week, guys, peace.
Peace.